Let's talk about J1s and the 2-year return residency requirement. Hi, I'm Jim Hacking, immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States out of our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. There are many different kinds of non-immigrant visas for people to come to the United States. Most people know the B1, B2, which is the visit visa program, the F1 student visa program, and today we're going to talk about the J1 exchange visitor program. The J1 exchange visitor program was started by the Department of State in 1961 and was designed to help people from foreign countries come to the United States to receive some training, to receive some skills, and then to bring that training back to their home country. So for many, many people who come to the United States on a J1 visa, it includes a requirement under what's called Rule 212E. Rule 212E requires that if you come to the United States on a J1, that when you finish your studies, that you return back to your home country and that you stay there and outside the United States for a full 2 years. This is something that is not necessarily always explained to people when they apply for a J1 visa. So at the very outset of this video, I want to make sure that you understand that if you apply for a J1 visa and if you are approved and if your visa is subject to what's called Rule 212E, you're going to have to fulfill that requirement unless you can get a waiver. And we're going to talk about that waiver process in just a little bit, but I want to make sure and to stress how important this is. It is not an easy thing to get out from that requirement. Most likely you are going to have to do your 2 years back home. And here's why. Here's the theory behind it. Either your home government or the U.S. federal government or some agency is spending a lot of money to bring you here to the United States, and it was designed to help people in developing countries build up their countries. So if you come here to the United States and let's say just study chemistry or making bridges in the United States, that you bring that technology, that information, that education, that smarts, all that back to your home country and help your country build better bridges, build better roads, or engage in better chemical research, these kinds of things. They wanted to help build up other countries, and they thought that this great program would allow really, really smart people to come from overseas and to study hard and to get some advanced degrees and then to bring that information back to the United States. So most people who come through scholarships funded by the home government or by the U.S. government, the State Department, or some other agency, most likely you're going to be subject to Rule 212E. Now, the one type of J1 visas that most likely are not subject to Rule 212E, these are people who are in the work and travel program or come as a nanny. These people are usually paying for their own education and they're coming to the United States to work and to take classes. So typically a nanny would come, work for a family, and take some classes at night. Or someone would come, let's say, to study hotel management. They would work full-time for a year or two at a big hotel, but they would also be taking classes. These people are not going to be subject to Rule 212E most of the time. Sometimes their agencies don't do a good job and get them a J1 that is subject to Rule 212E, but that's really unusual. It's much more often the case where people are being funded by the home government and now they want to get out from under that requirement. We see this a lot with doctors, and doctors are their own special waiver process to try to get out from that requirement of going back home for 2 years. We're not going to talk about it in this video. Today we're going to talk about the no objection letter. So one of the ways that you can get out of the J1 return home requirement under Rule 212E is by getting what's called a no objection statement. Now, these can be easy to get. These can be hard to get. Some countries are very willing to give a no objection letter. Some countries fight tooth and nail and will do everything they can to not give you a no objection letter. And this is sort of how it breaks down. If there's been a lot of money spent on your behalf, unless you pay that money back, you're not going to get that no objection letter. And you need to sort of talk to your friends who've gone through the process. You need to see what's the norm in my country. And what you do is you have to look at their embassy's rules and see what are the rules of my home country to try to get that no objection letter. And you can make an application, you'll pay their fee, they'll do their background check, and they'll decide whether or not to give you the no objection letter. If they do, then you file for the formal waiver of Rule 212E with the State Department. Now, for some reason, that office of the State Department waivers for 212E is actually here in St. Louis. My wife tried to knock on their door one time and to talk to somebody because you're trying to get a waiver approved, but you can't do that. So it's all done through the mail. There's no interview involved, and it's just you making a pitch as to why you should have this requirement waived. if you've been on a Fulbright scholarship or if your home country has paid for it, you're most likely not going to get that waiver. And here's the thing. If you don't get that waiver, you're going to have to go back to your home country for 2 years. Some people think that if they marry a U.S. citizen, that all will be forgiven and all will be working out okay. That is not necessarily true. Just because you've gotten married doesn't mean that you're not going to have to satisfy 212E. We've had people who had to wait to file for adjustment or had to live apart, or the U.S. citizen had to go live overseas with their partner because the partner couldn't get out from under Rule 212E. So, long and the short of it is, don't anticipate easily getting out of Rule 212E. Don't sign it willy-nilly. Make sure you understand what you're doing and make sure that you can do the 2 years outside the United States if you have to. And if you are going through that process and need our help, we can help you with applying with your home government for the no objection letter, and we can help with the State Department asking for the actual waiver itself. And you need all that at least before you file, or at least before you get your interview on the green card. If you're applying for a green card or for some change of status, you need to have that waiver in hand. That's the hard part. Proving up the marriage, usually that's going to be a lot easier than getting the waiver itself. This is the whole shoot and match. So if you are having a problem with that, or if you'd like our help with that, feel free to give us a call, 314-961-8200. You can email us, info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. If you're just looking for some free resources, we have a lot of those. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel so that whenever we make videos like this one, you get alerted to that. You can join our Facebook group, which is called Immigrant Home. And we have people in there talking about the J-1 waiver process, talking about going through immigration itself, talking about getting a green card. And then, of course, we have our Immigration Answer Show where you can come on a couple times a week and ask me any immigration question that you want for free. Hope you found this helpful. Hope you're having a great day, and we'll see you next time.